You're on the mic. And on today's episode, we're going to be looking at the voices of Superman. I'm going to be focusing in more or less on the animated works of Superman in many of the different incarnations over the years. I'm not going to focus as much on the newer movies from the 2000s, just more the television stuff, prior to, 2005, basically everything Justice League Unlimited and earlier, basically. Actually, I may even hit up on some of the newer stuff like Young Justice, but we'll see. We'll see. So, without no further ado, let's get going here. So, starting in, of course, 1940, Bud Collyer became synonymous. Was probably the first person to become synonymous with being the voice of Superman. Originally doing it on the Adventures of Superman radio show, and then also being brought in for the Fleischer slash famous Goodness cartoons in 1941, in which he would provide the voice of Clark Kent slash Superman, opposite of course Joan Alexander as Lois Lane. Um, they would then, of course, bring him back to reprise those roles in the New Adventures of Superman cartoon. The Filmation would bring him and Joan back in 1966 to reprise their roles for their New Adventures of Superman cartoon in the late 60s, there, 66 to 69. Um, also, also on the New Adventures of Superman, Bob Hastings would provide the voice of Superboy for the Adventures of Superboy segments in those cartoons. Bob Hastings would, of course, later become the voice of Commissioner Gordon in Batman the Animated Series. But yeah, so those are some of the first earlier voices. Um, and of course, Bud Collyer would provide the voice of Superman in the Justice League of America shorts in the New Adventures of Superman franchise as well. Then, as we get into the 70s, starting in the 70s and 80s, as we get from 1973 to 1986, that's when Danny Dark would be cast in the Hanna-Barbera productions of the Super Friends cartoons. Starting in 1973 with Super Friends, and then going through all the different variations of Super Friends franchise, including the all new Super Friends Hour, which came out, I believe, in '76, followed by Challenge of the Super Friends in '78, which was the first of all the cartoons that you really got a real good showcase of um, you know not just the Justice League but their arch enemies as well. In that show, they were the super villains were grouped as the Legion of Doom, the world's greatest Super Friends, and then the 1980 Super Friends cartoon, as well as Super Friends Legendary Superpowers Team and the Superpowers Team Galactic Guardians. So Danny Dark was the voice of Superman for all of those series. Then in 1988, when CBS started airing a new Superman cartoon from '88 to '89, Bo Weaver took on the role of Superman at that point. Then as we move ahead into the '90s, late '90s, early 2000s, um, Tim Daly would provide the voice of Superman for Superman the Animated Series that ran from '96 to 2000, and then throughout the movies associated with that Superman cartoon, he would also provide the voice 2002, 2006, 2009 through 12, in a number of the Superman movies, including the Batman Superman movie, Superman Shadow of Apocalypse, a number of those movies, and Justice League Doom. Christopher McDonald would then come in and provide the voice of Superman in his two appearances in Batman Beyond. Then from 2001 to 2008, as well as 2010 and then 2012 and 13, George Newbern would take over the voice of Superman in the Justice League franchise um, of the DCAU cartoons. In Justice League, his appearance on Static Shock, Justice League Unlimited, the Batman, um, the movie Superman Shazam, The Return of Black Adam, Superman versus the Elite, Injustice, Gods Among Us, Injustice 2, Justice League versus. So these set of movies were based off of the Justice League cartoons. So those were based off the. So Jordan Newbern would do those voices for the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited franchise. Tim Daly did it for the Superman franchise, the DCAU. Then in 2005, Michael Dangerfield would provide the voice of Superman in Crypto the Superdog cartoon that was produced by the cast from Ocean Studios of Vancouver. Let's see. And let me see. And then of course Nolan North um, would provide the voice of Superman 2010-2013 in the Young Justice cartoon. In the Young Justice cartoons, Nolan North would provide the voice of Superman in that cartoon. So that's pretty much the main ones that I wanted to get out there. But those are basically a lot of the main voices of those are the those are the actors and actors. Those are the actors who provided the voices of Superman and Superboy in a lot of those main series. So with that, let's move on to this day in each history. So today is May the 6th, 2020. So let's see what's happened on this date in each history. First off, on this date in 1980, Archie Comics released onto newsstands the 215th issue of Life with Archie. Life with Archie, as I understand, was another kind of slice of life comedic um, comic based on the Archie franchise. So on this date in 1980, the 215th issue of Life with Archie was released on the newsstands by Archie Comics. And also on this date in 2000, from Earl's Court in London, England, WWF would put on the event WWF Insurrection 2000. In that event, the main event saw The Rock defeating, or The Rock retaining his WWF Championship over Shane McMahon and Triple H in a triple threat match. Also on the card, Eddie Guerrero would retain the WWF European Championship against Chris Jericho. Um, the Hardy Boys would defeat WWF Tag Team Champions Edge and Christian by disqualification. The British Bulldog would defeat Crash Holly for the Hardcore Championship. Kurt Angle would defeat Chris Benoit. Rikishi and Shokishi, aka Big Show, would defeat the Dudley Boys. And that's at least among the main stuff there. So on this date in 2000, WWF had insurrection from London, England at Earl's Court there. So with all that being said, um, with all that being said, Um, you guys can check the links below if you want to contact me directly. My Discord is down there. You can go ahead and check out the Discord and join if you'd like. DM me there if you contact me directly. Also, I'm still promoting a bunch of different dub companies. You know, um, good time to check out a lot of the works that are out there. Um, also, also, let's see. Yeah, I'm still promoting the GoFundMe's as always, guys. Never feel like you have to donate. If it's on your heart to, if you have the means to, and it's on your heart to do so, please consider donating. If you've already donated, please consider donating again. And if you're not able to donate, you can still help out the cause by sharing the link. Because after all, sharing is caring. And you never know, maybe somebody in your circle of friends may see it and wanna help out. And if you like this content, please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. I always look forward to the conversation with you guys. As long as it's civil and respectful, of course. Um, and with that, I don't forget this Friday. I'll be doing will be the next VA premiere, Voices Big and Small, with Jimmy Zoppi, who I'll be profiling this Friday. And I hope I'll see you guys at the premiere on Friday for that. And I hope I'll see you guys back here tomorrow. All right, bye.